What is up? What's poppin'? It's your boy Kayle, 1 versus 9 here, and welcome to a new video. Today we are going to do a tier list. We have Dodge or Ban, we have super hard matchup, we have hard matchup, win if good, basically skill matchup, we have chill matchup, and we have free matchup. And kick W is just for like nothing. I would say we start off with, we're just gonna do it alphabetical, right, from A to Z. Aatrox. Aatrox got buffed this patch. I don't think it's a impossible matchup to play. It's only hard if you die early on, if you can't dodge. If you know how to space properly, if you know how to dodge, I think it's definitely winnable. So I would say for a beginner, I would put it in hard, but since it's my tier list, I will put him in win if good. You outscale him pretty much. If you play good, you will win. If you make mistake, you know, you might have seen the Aatrox game on my YouTube channel, then it will be really hard. So I will put in win if good. I think hard could also match quite well. Akali. I think Akali is actually a hard matchup to play, especially in top lane. In mid lane, it's way easier. I think top lane Akali is pretty much... It's not unwinnable, but it's really hard because the way it works is pre-6, the matchup is really chill. She can't kill you ever. You can't kill her ever. But once she gets 6, her ulti cooldown is 120 seconds cooldown, so she has 40 seconds less cooldown in your ult. So all she does is basically, she all-ins you with ulti, and then you're forced to use ulti. You'll survive the first all-in, but then she just waits out for her next ulti, and then she all-ins you again, and there's nothing you can do, really much, except for like... you know, if you dodge and go with end. So I think it's a hard matchup. I do think it's not unwinnable though. I think it's a hard one, but you can definitely win if you play it smart, you know, and maybe a bit lucky. Alright, Camille. Camille used to be one of my favorite matchups to play. I would usually put it in win if good, but I feel like this season she has been extremely strong, especially with the Triforce buffs and the Triforce changes. I wouldn't say it's a super hard matchup. I think it's winnable if you play it correct. I do think it's definitely Camille favored because she just has so much damage, and I think it depends, honestly. You do outscale, but she definitely has the upper hand in the first 11 levels of the game. You know, obviously, if you can dodge her E engage, if she engages with E, it's winnable, but if she saves it up, then I think it's really hard matchup. I would put it in win if good, honestly. For beginners, I would definitely put it in hard, so since it's my tier list, I would put it in win if good. Honestly, I think Cho Gath is also win if good. I think Cho Gath is kind of like a chill matchup. If he goes AP, it's a bit more hard to play. If they go tank, it's usually pretty chill to play, as long as you dodge. If you're good at dodging spells, if you're good at dodging Qs, you're gonna have a pretty chill time once you go Bork, right? I always go Bork first into Cho Gath. I think going Bork is gonna make the matchup quite easy to play. However, if you actually get hit by one single spell, he will most likely end up just one-tapping you, right? We've all been there. Cho Gath hits one Q, doesn't matter if AP or tank. He hits a W on you and then just finishes you off with hard steel stack into ulti. So if you're not careful and if you're not good at dodging, I think the matchup is not really easy. But if you're really good at the game and you know how to dodge, I would put it in chill. But I would say average, I think, if you play it good, if you can dodge, you know how to dodge, you know how to space, I think the matchup is definitely winnable. Okay, we have Darius. I think Darius is also... For me personally, I would say Darius is a chill matchup to play. You only really struggle into him early on in the first 6 levels. Once you're at 6 and you're good at spacing, the matchup is really, really free. It's all about just not getting hit by his E. It's all about just dodging his E. And then I think the matchup is really chill. He can't really do anything after 6 if you don't die early on, right? I always go ghost into him to kind of just counter his ghost. For beginners, I would say it's, especially for people who have a hard time spacing and like hiding and stuff, I would put it in win if good or maybe even hard. But for me personally, the lane is really chill. I would say I win 9 out of 10 games into Darius. If you're good at, if you have fast reaction time, you can always ulti his ulti. I would say the matchup is pretty chill to play after 6 if you don't grief it early on. You win level 1 and after that he kind of wins until level 6. You only win level 1 though if you hit him once or twice with E before and you stack your passive. If he has lethal tempo, I wouldn't go. But since I would say maybe 1 out of 5, maybe 1 out of 6 players goes for lethal tempo. Once they, as long as they have Conqueror and you hit them one time and stack passive, you always win level 1. Okay, for Mundo, I would say Mundo's also a pretty chill matchup to play. It can be a bit annoying if you die early on and you fall behind really drastically. He will just stat check the shit out of you. But I would say Mundo's pretty chill lane because all you have to do is just go Bork early on and then it's auto win. If you have Bork, you auto win. You also can get some healing reduction, which makes the lane also a lot easier. He can't really kill you. If you die early on and he gets 6 before, he could dive you. But honestly, you can just stay behind minions. He doesn't really have kill pressure on you, and then it's pretty chill. You can go like D-shield if you want to in second wind if you really struggle into the matchup, but I think it's usually pretty chill and easy. Because Borg is just so insanely broken into any tank. Alright, Fiora. I think Fiora is a win if good matchup. I think Fiora is purely skill matchup and it's based on whoever plays it better. You always have a chance into Fiora if you block her W. However, if you get hit by her parry, her W, you can't really win, right? So as long as you know how to dodge her W, you know, you rush boots, get some points into Q, maybe even fleet footwork if you want to, then I think the matchup is really skill dependent, right? Your ulti is extremely good into her. It's all about spacing and not getting hit by W. So I would say if you know how to play, you will definitely win the matchup most of the times. Gangplank. I would put Gangplank in either chill or win if good. Personally, I don't really have problems into Gangplank. His early game is really annoying, but once you're level 6, the matchup is kind of free. Yeah, you have an auto reset, so it's always really, really simple or easy to kill the barrels, right? You can block his Q, you can block his ulti, you can block his E as well. If he gets a lucky crit, then obviously it hurts. But as long as you go second win D shield with TP and you make it level 6, it's pretty chill, honestly. Garen. There should be no ever possible way of Garen killing you unless you Giga Grief. Garen has no gap closer. Garen has no CC at all. So all you really have to do is just rush boots, get some points in the Q, and then just play hit and run. One tip, of course, is to save Q for when he uses his Q, right? Because his Q removes slow, so Qing first. He can then use his Q to remove the slow, so you just rush boots, get to level 6, and it's basically the same as Darius. However, it's easier, right? Because he doesn't have any gap closer or CC. Yeah, the only really chance he has is to really just flash Q, ignites you, and ult you. But other than that, the matchup is super chill. One of my favorite ones to play. Gnar. I personally think Gnar is also a skill matchup. You always win against melee Gnar, so melee and mini Gnar. The range Gnar is way easier, right? You can't really win into the big one, into Mega Gnar. It's really hard to win because he has so much CC. I would only always try to fight him when he is in his small form, and then I would try to all-in him. You outscale him, so it's pretty chill, but if he gets ahead early on, it's really disgusting to play against a ranged champ that gets promo HP every like 2 waves, right? If you just play around his small form and then go all in, I think it's pretty chill matchup. But it can definitely be hard as well if he gets an early lead. Yeah, and he just stat checks the shit out of you. And next up, we have Illaoi. Honestly, Illaoi, I'm not really sure what to say. I haven't really played much into Illaoi this season. I've seen lots of people pick her up lately, and I feel like she's gotten a lot stronger. I would always put her in chill, because it's all about just staying behind minions, not getting hit by Q. But right now, there's like this build going on where she goes Draktar, Duskblade into like tank, which is super strong. So I would honestly put her in win if good. If you know how to space, you can consistently dodge her E and her Qs, and you block ulti with yours. I think the matchup is really chill. You can also go like healing reduction, and it's pretty chill to play. But if you can't space, then I think the matchup is really hard to play. Irelia. We just played against one, and honestly, if you have weak mental, I would always dodge or ban her. I think Irelia is one of the worst champs to play against, laning phase wise. You always outscale Irelia if you don't completely grief on, but I think it's not worth the struggle, honestly. Irelia lane is literally not playable in terms of lane. She will always have the upper hand, no matter how many minions you will have. She just gets her Vampiric Scepter and you just can't win. Irelia is one of the strongest early game champs, and this is where Kayle really struggles into, so I would put her in super hard probably. But I usually dodge or ban her. And I would suggest you to do the same, honestly. I started banning Jax lately, so I would also put Jax in dodge or ban. I feel like both of them can also be super hard matchups depending on your experience. I think these matchups are just really hard to play, and especially Jax. Jax doesn't really fall off late game, so my go-to ban right now is Jax. You know, there are some scenarios where you can win. You see me sometimes go for like Arcane Comet and some tricky builds. But if they are Jax, if the Jax is like a decent player, good player, you will most likely never really have a chance. And yeah, so I would just ban or dodge him, honestly. Jayce. I'll put Jayce in super hard. I don't think the matchup is unplayable. However, Jayce is kind of just hard countering your whole kit, basically, right? He has range early on. He has super nice poke. He has nice engage with his Q. He has nice disengage with his melee form, right? E. So every time he like jumps in, you're kind of forced to ulti his burst damage. And when you ulti, he will just knock you away with his E and then proc phase rush. And then he will just keep on doing this. So I think the matchup is really hard. For example, little fun information. Jayce is actually the most banned champion for Kayle players in Korea. I know most Korean OTPs, they always ban Jayce because they just can't seem to win, and I can understand why. It's definitely a really hard matchup, and it can be really frustrating to play because you can't really like all in the melee, right? You can just like look through poke damage with Q. But that's about it. So yeah, obviously Kayle, you know, Kayle vs Kayle, who plays normal games. Kennen. I think Kennen is also a hard matchup to play. He's a ranged champion. You can't really ever go in because he will just CC you. Of course, you have options to go for like Wit's End and then like maybe a Maw or like Banshees, depending on if you go AP or AD. But if you ever played against good Kennen players, you don't have a chance. He outranges you. He has low cooldowns in his ulti, so he can always trade ulti for ulti. He can double stun you with his passive, which makes the matchup almost unplayable if he's a good Kennen. So it's not unwinnable, right? Because if you get to like late game, you can definitely win. But I would say for the first like 11 levels or so, he definitely has the upper hand. So I would say it's a hard matchup to play. Kled. I would put Kled into win if good. We played against one yesterday. If you can consistently dodge his Q and you ulti when he goes for his 4 enhanced auto attacks, then I think it's winnable. If you know how to space, it gets better. If you don't know how to space really good and you're bad at kiting, I think the matchup will become really, really difficult to play. But the more you play, honestly, the easier it gets. So I don't really have a problem. If he gets head early on, and I've seen some people go lethality, it's really, really disgusting to play. So if you know how to dodge Q, if you can consistently dodge Q, I think the matchup is pretty chill to play. Lilia, I haven't really seen anyone play Lilia at all, honestly. So I haven't played against the Lilia at all this season, so I can't really say much to this matchup. Just based on her kit, I would say the matchup is probably hard to play. I would say it's probably hard to play because she has super high range with her Q, right? She has super high mobility as well. And the perma taking damage is really, really annoying. So I'm not sure. I haven't really played the matchup at all, so maybe I'm completely wrong. But from what I've seen so far, I think the matchup is really, really hard to play. Of course, you go D-Shield second wind into Lilia as well, which makes the lane a bit easier. Maybe I put it in win if good, because I feel like if you just rush Wit's End and you space really well, you get to 6, it's definitely playable. Malphite. I think Malphite is honestly a disgusting matchup. I would put Malphite actually in super hard. After they've buffed his W a few patches ago, I feel like the matchup has become so much unplayable. If you ever played against good Malphite, they will usually just rush Frozen Heart, and then you just literally can't play. He has way low cooldown in his ulti, way more stats, like higher stats, way more base damage. So as long as this guy is decent and he knows what he's doing, I think the matchup is literally not playable. It used to be way more different, right? Because you can always ulti his ulti, but like now it's kind of just useless. So I don't really win into Malphites anymore. It's kind of just a really, really hard matchup. Maokai. Honestly, I think Maokai is a really chill matchup. I've been saying this since like season 6. All you have to do is just either go Ignite or take early healing reduction into Maokai. And the matchup is super, super chill. You get to 6, you can just perma poke him. He can't really get onto you unless you let him close into W range. So I don't really struggle in this matchup at all. I think it's really, really chill. I think it's really chill matchup, not much to say. Wukong. I think Wukong is also... I'm not sure if it's a hard matchup or like a win if good. I feel like it's definitely winnable. He has really high stats, right? His armor is insane, the amount of armor he gets. I think it's not an extremely hard matchup to play because you can react to his EQ ulti engage and then you can like run him down. But if he goes Ignite and you're not really careful early on and he gets like an early kill, then he can like snowball really, really heavy and then you will have lots of problems. But overall, I would say if you play it chill, you don't really die early on, you get to 6 and play it slow, I think the matchup is pretty chill. Mordekaiser. To be honest, I haven't really played much into Mordekaiser in a while. I think the matchup, depending on who you play against, is winnable. We could argue that in lower elo it's a hard matchup to play because okay, let me explain. I think the matchup is chill to play if you know how to itemize and you know what to do. So I usually like going Ignite into Mordekaiser because Ignite is really what you need in order to kill him. All you have to do is really dodge his E, and every time he ultis you, you just have to space, dodge his Q, and then usually ulti his second Q, and then the matchup is really chill to play. If you fall behind and you don't run Ignite, then honestly, I would suggest you to run Ignite in this matchup, because with TP, you just lack the little bit amount of damage and healing reduction you need to beat him. Then it's pretty chill. And also, I would just go on it into him, because when he ultis, he steals your stats, right? He steals AP, AD, attacks. Does he steal attack speed? I don't know, he steals your stats, but he can't steal your on-hit damage. So I like going, not to Wit's End, but I like going either Kraken or Borg first into him. That works really, really well. I would probably go Kraken most of the times if he goes more into AP. If he goes full tank, then maybe Borg. I wouldn't go Wit's End first, because with Wit's End you won't kill him. You're a bit more tanky, but you don't have enough damage to kill him, so... Yeah, but like, you outscale him really hard, you know, So I would say if you can, I mean, most of these matchups is just if you know how to dodge spells, the matchup becomes easy. If you can't dodge because you're like slow at like clicking or whatever, you will most likely have a harder time. But again, this is my personal one, how I feel about this matchup. So this might be different to you guys. All right, Nasus. Honestly, I would say Nasus is a super hard matchup to play. You don't really win your lane. I mean, pre-6, the matchup is really chill. You can't really kill him. He can't really kill you. But you've seen it earlier, maybe. You can't win the lane ever. You can't. Unless jungle ganks you and perma just dives and camps you, you will not win. He will always outscale you. He will go Frozen Heart, second or third. And with his 75% attack speed slow on W, it's not playable. So the only chance you have is if you have a decent teammate. If you have a good team comp, if you have lots of CC, like the game we had earlier, we had Volibear jungle, Rakan support and Kaiser ADC. It's really chill because you have lots of CC and percentage damage, and then the matchup becomes really like the matchup becomes easy. Not the matchup, but like the game, right? But if you have no CC and no percentage damage, I would just dodge the matchup honestly, or even ban it. So depending on what your teammates have, I would probably dodge or ban if you have no CC or like no peel in your team. But I would say you can win, right? Because you have options to go like cleanse, you have options to go QSS. It's not unwinnable, but I think it's definitely really, really hard to play. Okay, Ornn. I think Ornn is also win if good. I think Ornn is one of those rare tank champions that actually can beat you if you walk up. You just don't pay attention for a second. He can just one-shot you. If you get to like 6 and you get like a Bork, the matchup becomes really easy. So I wouldn't say it's a hard matchup. But yes, I think Ornn has probably, in terms of tanks, the highest base damage. Right, so misstepping one, he just one-taps you, which is crazy for a tank. But since you can just opt for Bork into Kraken, or Bork into Ragebait, or even Bork into Riftmaker, it becomes a lot easier, right? And it's a tank, so you outscale regardless. Okay, Poppy. Honestly, I think Poppy is actually a really, really hard matchup to play. I haven't really played into Poppy in a few weeks, but I remember the last few times, every time I played into Poppy, I would just lose. Poppy has so much high base damage. She perma pokes you with Grasp and a passive, and there isn't really much you can do early on, honestly. You do outscale at some point, but if she's good and she will just completely fuck you out of lane, the matchup is not really playable, in my opinion. At least laning phase, right? You do outscale. Quinn, honestly, lots of people struggle into Quinn, but I feel like Quinn is actually quite a chill matchup to play if you know what to do. I'm a big fan of going bone plating into Quinn because Quinn is a champ that goes for one burst straight combo and then she's kind of useless. So if you can block her old combo, right, auto E, auto Q, auto, it's really easy. And honestly, I always go ignite into Quinn, and you also win level 1. Because sometimes they think like, oh yeah, I'm ranged, I can just fuck him up, and then they try to fight you level 1, and then you can just run him down. So, and also you outscale her, right? Any assassin is kind of chill to play because you can just block their whole damage. Renekton, honestly, I think Renekton is also a win if good matchup. A good Aatrox, a good Renekton player will go for Ignite and PTA and just play really aggressive, and then you might have lots of struggle with like Bork Rush or whatever. But if you know how to space, if you know how to play around to some power W and stuff, I think the matchup is quite decent. And you outscale as well, so. Riven. I think Riven is one of the hardest matchups to play. A good Riven is not really beatable. She has insanely good scaling. And once she gets her CDR, right, I think you have to get 55 CDR. If you have 55 CDR with Boots and Warhammer, you literally can't play. She has perma E up, perma Q. Her ulti cooldown is way less than yours, so she can always just straight ulti for ulti and then just wait for next and then all in you again. She has super high mobility. AoE, I think the matchup, honestly, one of the most disgusting matchups to play. But if she's bad, of course it's winnable, but you know, for me, when you play against Riven and like Masters Plus, it's 9 out of 10 games you will not win, honestly. Rumble. I think Rumble is actually the same. I think Rumble is a really, really hard matchup to play. I put it in super hard. The recent buffs to Rumble have made the matchup almost unplayable in top lane. I haven't really played in mid lane, I think it's easier, but in top lane, he can just run you down because the lane is so big as well, right? He can block your QE damage with his shield. He will win any sort of extended trade, do his overheating thing Q. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, he gets a free void stuff on his E, and since you already have the lowest base amount in the game, he will literally deal true damage if he rushes Sorcerer Boots. I struggle a lot into Rumble. A good Rumble player will just fuck you up so badly, so I personally don't see any chance you have in the Rumble. Of course, you do outscale, right? You do outscale. But you don't get there if he just plays the lane correct, right? He will just make you life and your laning phase really, really miserable. Sett. I think setup is a really, really chill matchup. I would put it even into 3, honestly. But I think Sett is the same as Darius. As long as you make it to 6 without dying, it's auto 1. If you get hit by his E, same as Darius, he can still kill you if you are not careful. But if you get Berserker Greaves, you max Q. You know, all you have to do is just space, and the matchup is super, super easy to play. I don't really have problems in the set at all. Pre-6, annoying. After 6, really chill. Shen. I think Shen is one of the easiest matchups to play. It's the same as like Darius, I would say, early on. His level 6, pre-6 is super strong. Shen is one of the strongest level 1 to level 3s. But it's a tank, he lacks damage early afterwards. So once you get to like level 6 or especially 11, the game is like auto 1. Like, you should never lose into Shen. Laning phase can be difficult, right? That's why I like going bone plating. Because the only chance he has to block is if he dashes in. And then you can like block his whole combo basically. And they also tend to go Ignite most of the times, which makes it a bit more scary if you like walk up and you're not unaware for a second. But overall, I would say Shen is super free matchup. He will, once you have 2 items and 11, he just can't do shit. And same goes basically for Singe as well. Singe, one of the most free matchups to play. It's all about just spacing. If he rushes Swifties, I would also go Swifties. Just Q max and he can never get onto you. I also go Flash Ghost every time he Ghost, you Ghost, and he won't really have any damage. So yeah, I would say I win like 9 out of 10 Singe lanes if I don't fuck up. So I personally think it's a really, really free matchup. I would put Sion in win if good. If you play against Bao Sion, you will actually struggle a lot because he knows exactly what to do. Into any other Sion, I would say it's pretty chill. If you know what to do, you just rush Borg if they go tank. And once you have Borg, you kind of just auto win. Just gotta be careful that you don't fall behind, because then he will just stat check the shit out of you if he goes tank. And Hullbreaker, otherwise I would say Sion is pretty chill matchup to play. If the Sion player knows the matchup really well, I think it's gonna be a rough time. Other than that, I would say it's pretty chill matchup, and you're a bit aware of, you know, not walking through or like into bushes with no vision, and you just play around your Borg power spike. I think the matchup's also really chill. If he goes 80, it's a bit more scary, honestly. But I would say 80 is even easier to play if you don't like walk into bushes and stuff, because you can just one-shot, right? Super squishy. Yeah. I personally haven't played it with Silas in a very long time. I still think Silas is a hard matchup to play. I think most AP champions are really, really hard to play simply because Kayle has the lowest base amount with 22 in the game. Silas has super low cooldowns. Basically, whoever ults first loses most of the times, right? So if you ult first, he will just ult afterwards and then he kills you. So you kind of just want to save your ulti for the very last second, and whoever ults first will most likely lose. Yeah, I don't like the matchup. It's really snowball heavy, so falling behind early on is like kind of GG. But I wouldn't say it's like impossible to win for sure. Teemo, honestly, I also would say, you saw it last game, Teemo is super hard in terms of laning phase. If he just abuses his range early on and Ignite, you can't do anything. He blinds you, blocks all of your damage. You do outscale and you can definitely one-shot him later on, because you can just ulti when he blinds you. But laning phase wise, it's not playable, right? He has perma range, poison, even with D-Shield second wind, it's not playable. I'm not a fan. I hate the matchup. I hate Teemo players. And yeah, Tryndamere. I would also put Tryndamere into super hard lane. Tryndamere has always been a Kayle counter. He has lower ult cooldown. His ulti is also twice the amount of duration than yours. So all he has to do is just straight ulti with ulti. He has a dash that deals damage. He has a point and click spell that reduces, I think, 40-80 at max rank. He has infinite healing. I think Tryndamere is one of the worst matchups to play, really. Yeah, I hate Tryndamere. I usually go phase rush into him. I like Zhonya's rush. Other than that, it's not really playable, honestly. If they fuck up and you get a lead early on, you can play. But Tryndamere has always been disgusting Kayle counter, so yeah. Urgot. I think Urgot is actually quite a chill lane. I'll put it in win if good, honestly, because if he zones you off level 1, you're gonna have a hard time. And if he knows how to consistently hit E flashes, I mean, if he E flashes onto you, he will always get ulti off, and that is hard to play. If you don't really make any mistakes early on and you get to like level 11 and you can space and not get hit by E, I think the matchup is really chill to play. Vayne. Lots of people would say probably Vayne is a hard matchup. I think Vayne is actually quite a chill lane. I'm gonna be honest. Vayne is really chill lane. Vayne players tend to have super high ego and think they will win level 1 because they're ranged champions. All you have to do is go Flash Ghost with Q-Max, D-Shield second wind, and try to bait her into all-in level 1. If that works, you kind of just auto-win. Once you're level 6, you should also have no problem at all. It's going to be even easier, right? You just go through Q-Max, poke her, and as long as you don't stand close to walls, I think the matchup's really, really chill. You know, you play chill once you crash the wave, you recall, let it push until the wave's on your tower, and then you just keep on repeating. I don't really have problems into Vayne at all. I think Vayne is really chill matchup. Vladimir. I honestly think Vladimir is also maybe chill, maybe win if good. I like going second win D-Shield Fleet Footwork with TP into Vladimir. I think then it's all about just out-sustaining. It's all about just staying behind minions to not get hit by E, and then just playing around this big Q cooldown, right? Don't ever get hit by his empowered Q, his big one. Play through poke. Once you get level 6, you can kind of just out-sustain. I also like going early Oblivion open to him, because you can just level 6 perma apply the anti-heal, and then it's really chill matchup to play. You basically block when he ultis you, and he's about to like go in his EWQ. You just block the damage, and then it's really chill. I don't really have struggle into Vladimir, at least in top lane. Volibear, I haven't played the matchup at all, so I can't really say much. I used to struggle a lot into him. I would say you can win if good. It's all about spacing, not getting hit by his stun. So if you can kite and space really well, I think the matchup becomes quite chill. However, if you don't have ulti, he can always tower dive you, right? He can disable your tower, and then you can't really kill him. So you definitely gotta be careful with when you use your ulti. Yasuo, Yone are honestly two super hard matchups to play. I wouldn't say super hard, but in top lane, both matchups are significantly way worse than the mid lane, right? Because the longer the lane is, the easier it is for Yone to run you down. And for Yasuo as well. If Yasuo, you know, top lane is all about slow pushing waves, building up big waves, 2 or 3 waves, or even 4 waves sometimes to crash. The more waves Yasuo, the more minions Yasuo has to dash through, the easier it will be for him to beat you. So I struggle into both matchups in top lane, but I don't have any problems in mid lane, right? You can try, I like going Ignite into both matchups and try to like play aggressive from level 1 early on. The problem with those both matchups is that they have one of the strongest early power spikes in the game. Once they have Berserker Greaves, you can't really out-trade them and win. So I usually struggle a lot into them. If they're bad, it's kind of chill, but if they are decent, you're gonna have a really hard time, at least in top lane. In mid lane, it's a completely different story. Last but not least, we have Yorick. I think Yorick is... I would say I put him win if good. A good Yorick player can like one-shot you level 4 or level 3. With lethality, I think tank Yorick is really chill to play into. Yorick definitely has the upper hand early on. Once you're 6, the matchup becomes a bit easier to play, and you kind of outscale him as well, so I wouldn't say it's a hard matchup. However, if you fall behind early on, and he goes lethality, he can literally just one-shot you because of your long ult cooldown, and then the matchup becomes really hard. You have auto-attack E for his cage. Good Yorick players, what they will do is they will put a second point into cage and get a third attack HP bar, and then it becomes a lot harder to play. Olaf, Akshan. Okay, so we have Sante, Olaf, and Akshan. Warwick. Warwick wasn't here, but I guess... okay, so I would put Warwick, personally. I would put Gwen. Oh yeah, we're actually missing quite a few ones. Okay, so I think Gwen is chill matchup. I'll put it in chill, actually. It's really easy to dodge her ulti. You can block her biggest amount of damage, either ult 3 or ult or the big Q. You go Ignite. I don't really struggle. I think the matchup is chill. Warwick can be really disgusting early on. If you know how to space, you get early healing reduction. The matchup becomes pretty okay to play. I would still say the matchup is hard because he just has so much insane sustain, plus his ulti heals him up, right? It's also really hard to react to his ulti if he's like close to you. And his damage reduction is like insane as well, right? So I would say Warwick is hard matchup. Gwen is chill or win if good. Akshan is pretty much, I would put him in super hard because range, if he knows how to abuse his range early on, it's really hard to play. You do win the all-in and you outscale as well, right? If you get onto him and he can't dash away, you can just one-shot him. Your ulti blocks most of his damage. But if he knows how to play in lane early correctly, you will struggle a lot into. Olaf, I would say, is win if good. In case you haven't seen my video on YouTube, all you have to do is just go Fleet Footwork, Ghost Flash, and rush Swifties. And then it's all about just not getting hit by Q, and all about spacing. Olaf is the same as Warwick. You shouldn't really get baited by them being low HP, right? Because the lower they are, the more they heal, and the stronger they will be. So I would put Olaf also into win if good. If you can dodge the spells, if you know the kite, matchup becomes really easy. And Sante for the last champion. I think Sante is I'm not sure. I would put him either in win if good or hard. We've all seen how much damage Sante can deal. I would honestly put him in hard. I think Sante is a hard matchup. He has super much damage. He has insane mobility. He has damage reduction. He has... there's nothing he doesn't have in his kit, honestly. The only thing he's missing is invisibility. Anything else he has true damage. He has damage reduction. He has empowered autos, attack speed, lifesteal. Like, he lacks literally nothing. Like, Sante is like Giga Chat champ, right? So I'll put him in hard. If he gets a bit too overconfident, you auto win when he gets into his ulti, right? Because then he's really squishy and you can one-shot him. But what they usually do is they go Thrust Fire Gauntlet, and they hit one spell. You take less, you take more damage, you get the slow, and they will just run you down. So I think Sante is definitely one of the matchups that are harder to play, but not impossible. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. I think we have all the champions. Cassio, no one really plays Cassio top lane, but I would say Cassio is also a hard matchup. Any AP champ is pretty much hard. Yeah, leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to let me know what you think, what the hardest matchups are. Let me know maybe what champ you ban, what champion you struggle into, which champion you have a chill time into. And if you guys want to see a mid lane matchup tier list, then let me know in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.